Welcome back to our Return to Work series. Today we're going to get into a pumping schedule, and this is something that we often don't plan for ahead of time, and we're like, well, we'll know when we need to pump. And sometimes your body does give you a little bit of pressure and lets you know when it's time to pump, but we also want to plan for what our entire day looks like. So it's also not just our work day. You want to think about if you have a commute. Now, if you are working from home, that is really limited, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But if you are going on some sort of commute, whether it's a quick 10-minute ride or longer, you also want to think about what that looks like. What is your mode of transportation? Are you in a car for a long period of time? Are you on public transportation for a long period of time? And also what your comfort level is if you would need to pump during that time frame in that location. Now, when we think about a workday, I'm going to phrase it as an 8-hour workday. I know that's not true for everyone. Somebody has shorter, some people have longer, and it can be very different. But just for our purposes, an 8-hour workday with a narrow 30-minute commute, if we're thinking about that 9-hour day of work, that's your time away from baby. You want to think about how frequently baby might be eating when you're not there. So if they're taking in 2 to 3 feeds when you're gone, you're typically going to pump about 2 to 3 times to mimic that sort of schedule that baby has. And there is going to be time between their feedings, so there's going to be time between your pumping sessions. So a lot of times people tell us, well, I'll just do one big pumping session in the middle of the day. But we also want to remind you that your supply is based on supply and demand. So if you're only demanding milk from your body once while you're at work for an 8-9 hour day, that makes it think, oh, this baby's eating a little bit less frequently, make a little bit less milk, and you may have a reduction in your milk supply over time. So you really do want to pump over time during the day, multiple periods. It's typically around every 3 to 4 hours, but again, it depends on how old your baby is and what your day looks like. So I gave you a general framework, 2 to 3 pumping sessions, depending on your needs. And I said it's around 15 minutes, but there's other factors to consider too. How long is it going to take you to get to your pumping location? It might not be the desk that you're sitting at while you're working. You may have to travel either to a different floor or something depending on your office's setup. So you want to consider that travel time. You also want to think about setup. So it's not just jumping in the room and you immediately start pumping. You want to think about getting your parts together, making sure you have everything. Everything should be clean before you start. Sometimes it's not. Getting it on and set up and taking a breath to try to relax a little bit before you start your pumping session. And then we bring in that standard pumping session is around 15 minutes. After that, you want to think about storing your milk, getting it into a fridge or a cooler or however you're going to do those things, and your cleaning of your parts if you're going to clean at work after each session. For additional resources, including our one-on-one return to work consults, please check out the description below and check out our other videos within this series and our other playlists.